Welcome. My name is Steve Goodner. I am the founder of EQ Fit, which is a consulting firm, an assessment firm, and a training and development firm. So anything related to people, both on the professional side and on the personal side. Well, many of my clients have come to me and asked a question. Help us understand organizational development. What is it? What do we do with it? How do we do it? What I wanted to do was simplify it as much as I can because there are so many different viewpoints and thoughts and theories about organizational development. And many people come with their own bias, their own experience. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want to keep this as simple as possible and outline it in a way that I think will make a lot of sense. When I think of organizational development, I think of building the organization that you want to live and work in. And that's also a refining process. So let me start with a way to explain organizational development as if you were building a house that you were inviting many people into. And if you start to build a house, there are certain things you have to think about. So the first thing to look at here is the house itself. And you can see this is just a simplified look at what a house looks like. It has a foundation, it has walls, it has a roof. But in the sense or the context of organizational development, what are the different parts of the house? Well, we start with your organization, the house that you want to build to bring the people in. Then next we look at vision, mission, and values. Now I realize you don't start building a house from the roof down. It doesn't work very well that way. But bottom line, you want everybody to be under one roof. And that one roof is your vision, your mission, and your values. So when we start to build the house from the ground up, where do we start? Well, the first place we start is with a plan. We need to have strategic plans, plans for people. That means succession plans, continuity plans, hiring plans, plans that really help us stay on track to make the goals that we need to make to keep our organization up and running and to build the house that we want to build. The next thing we need to think about is people. What kind of people are we going to invite into our house? What skills do they have? What culture will they align with? And that's a very important part of this when you think of organizational development, because your organization will have a unique culture, and people that fit the culture will engage at higher levels and be more productive and, frankly, just be more satisfied. The next thing to think about is purpose. Why are we here? Why are we doing the things that we do? And how do we express that to people? How do we help them understand what that looks like? Yes, that comes out of vision, mission, and values, but it really is a defined purpose for why we get together in this house and do the things that we do. And the walls that circle the house or enclose the house, that's the culture that we want to develop. How do we develop a culture that is encompassing of the people within our house, the people we've invited into our organization? Well, now that we've looked at the outside and get a general sense of organizational development from the main structures, let's take a more detailed look at how we really do build the house that we want to live and work in. And I want to share, nothing really happens if there isn't revenue generation. That's why that came up first. But to do that, we've got to start to onboard the right talent, because revenue generation The way to get to our customers and have the revenue, we need to build this house over time and refine it as we go. We've got to have the right people. And that starts with onboarding the right talent. Well, what do we do from there? Well, the next step is we create what I call success pathways for individuals, for teams, and really for the whole organization. It is a simplified way to look at, if I'm coming into your organization and I want to be successful, how does that happen? What is my success pathway in the role that I am coming into your organization or your house? If you can help me understand that, I can be more successful more quickly. So the ramp up period to productivity is much less because there's a clear success pathway. And also accountabilities. When we bring new people into our house, there are some house rules that we live by. Those are accountabilities. And again, those things also come out of vision, mission, and values. But we need to express those specifically and clearly to people. So what happens next? We bring new talent on board. We give them a clear understanding of their success pathway and their team's success pathway and how they will be held accountable and what they're accountable for. And I like that better than responsible. Accountable means ownership. Responsible just means it's something I'm supposed to do. So I appreciate accountability a little bit more than just responsibility. What's next? Well, next is starting to train and develop people. How do we train and develop people to help them grow, to learn, to become more productive, more successful? And by the way, those things create greater enjoyment and satisfaction in the workplace. This is all a part of organizational development. Well, what's next? What's next is coaching and performance management. We need to make sure that if we bring people into our organization, that there is a clearly defined way to coach people on a regular basis. I recommend weekly, and also to watch the performance management side of things. How can we help people understand how they're doing? How can they see into their performance, the visible part of how they're being measured? That's really important. And then we go to starting to build teams and community and collaboration, which is really where a lot of the work gets done. But it doesn't get done most of the time by one individual all by themselves. Yes, some of our organizations have individual contributors that do pretty much their own thing, but they add value to the organization. But most of the time, we're building teams, and we hope they are healthy and effective teams, what we call organizational health and vitality. So that's the next step. How do we build out this community of people? How do we make sure the teams are healthy and functioning well? Where do we go from there? Well, we need to have support systems. So think HR, think all of the different support systems that are in place to help our people that have come into our house to do the work that we want to do. Then we look at, and there are the walls that start to show up. Then we look at motivation. Motivation is a key element throughout the organization, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Now, I want you to stop and look at this for a minute. The walls came in. Every single one of those walls in each of those rooms in your house is a load-bearing wall. It carries a load. If any one of these walls fall down, or they can't support the weight of the roof, which is your vision, mission, and values, if they can't support that, what do you think is going to happen? Well, your vision, your mission, your values will not be achieved. They will not be carried out. They will not be practiced in the way that you want them to be. So when we start to really look at organizational development in what I hope is a simplified way, we can start to see how building our house that we're inviting our people into has some very important parts to it. And one of those very important parts is how we relate as a whole to our customers. How do we promote ourselves to the marketplace? Well, you've got to have an integrated organization that works well together, that collaborates well, and a dedicated revenue generation group. Call it a sales team, maybe it's a nonprofit fundraising team that generates revenue. This is the same for nonprofits as it is for for-profits. Now, we work mostly in for-profit situations, but we've worked with a number of nonprofits. How we serve our customers is critical, and that all comes out of how we develop our organization. Are we truly living out our values? Are they applicational values, not just aspirational values? Well, there's something missing here, and I think you may have figured out what it is, and it's leadership. So why have I put leadership kind of in the middle of all of this? Literally because leadership touches everything. And if we build the right kind of house and the right structures for our people, then a healthy, vibrant leadership effort and a vibrant group of leaders who lead well and lead by example, they're going to touch every part of the organization, every room in the house, so to speak. The next question then is, okay, now that we know what organizational development looks like, what do we do with it? How could someone help you build your house? And you know, if you've built a house like I have in the past, then there are all kinds of different contractors that come in to do different things. And you've got the people that lay the tile or the flooring, and the people who do the drywall, and the people who put in the ceilings, and the painters, and the people who lay the foundation. I mean, there's so many different things going on. Well, it's kind of similar in building your house or your organization. So let's look at what that looks like. From a talent and onboarding process, these are things that EQ Fit, my organization, helps our clients with. Hiring support. And maybe that's a full search if it's a critical position. Maybe we do the search for you. We do that for many of our clients. Hiring support, building up internal strength in hiring the right people. Another thing we bring to our clients is these pre-hire assessment packages that are customized for the unique needs of the role and the organization. And this is probably one of our premier services in the way that we serve our customers. And that is helping them identify which candidates are the right fit, not just a good fit, not the best fit, but the right fit. Well, what's next? Well, as far as success pathways and accountability, we bring tools, we bring process, we bring templates, we bring consulting to help develop these success pathways. This is a huge missing piece for most organizations. They don't have a clearly defined success pathway for each individual in each role of the organization. What's next? Well, as far as training and development, that's probably a big part of our bread and butter. We bring a lot of training resources. We are certified advanced trainers. We have deep knowledge of the brain and how the brain works and how people learn, especially how adults learn, how they retain information. So it's not just putting people through a one-day course or a workshop or a seminar. Those older ways of training, we now know from research, are not all that effective. You lose 90% of that learning in 2 weeks. And if you're investing some significant dollars in that, it's much better to do bite-sized chunks that people can digest well and learn and practice and think and reflect on, and then move to the next bite-sized piece to digest and learn and grow and practice and reflect on. And there's a process that we use to do that. I explain that because there's so much misinformation out there right now on what kind of training is truly effective. If all you want to do is check off a box, there's all kinds of options out there for you. When we engage with customers and clients, it's all about seeing good outcomes and getting the enhancement in productivity or performance or whatever it is that our clients want to see. So what's next? Well, there's the coaching and performance management side of things. And that is the tools, the processes, our coaching with leaders, with managers to help them better manage other people. That can be quite a challenge, as you well know. If you're building or have built organizations over time, you know people are probably one of the biggest challenges you'll ever have. They're also the biggest reward you'll ever have when people come together and really put out an effort that is above and beyond. Well, then we move to the community and collaboration and the building of teams. We have assessments for that to see how teams are doing, truly actionable assessments where you can get data you can really do something with, create KPIs with, and then workshops and other things that we do. And then the support systems. We have an entire part of our business that is dedicated to, call it fractional chief people officer, call it just supporting the HR function within your organization. That may be designing it. What does it need to look like? What are the pieces that need to be involved? Then we talk about motivation. And I put EQ up here for a very specific reason. Emotional intelligence is where motivation will either be increased in your home or it will be decreased. And that may be at home and at work. When I say your home, I'm talking about your organization, but it's everywhere in our lives. We know research proves over and over higher EQ scores equal higher productivity and higher levels of success, and frankly, higher functioning teams. So we are very knowledgeable in emotional intelligence. We are preferred partners with the largest emotional intelligence organization in the world, and we bring those tools, processes, and methods everywhere that we go. And then we talk about revenue generation. We have assessments for salespeople. I have created my own sales profile, and it's based in emotional intelligence, and it measures how salespeople are showing up to influence others. It's a true measure of their application of 8 critical success factors. And then we have training and coaching and all of that. Now, I know the last half of this video, or maybe more, has been more of a commercial. But even if you don't do anything with us, at least you'll have a sense of what organizational development means, how important it is, how having all of these different rooms in your organization, when you're building your organization, your house, so to speak, and inviting people into it, all of these have load-bearing walls. And if any of these are missing for you, I think it's important that you at least look into what it would take to enhance that area so that your vision, mission, and values, what you truly want to achieve through your organization, in your work, in your life, comes to fruition, that you reach the dream, that you achieve the goals. And those are things we can help with. I hope this has helped to simplify the organizational development concept, and happy to talk to you at any time about your needs and where you go from here. Thanks for listening and watching this video.